In this video, I just want to talk to you a little bit about data types. And so I just want to show you something in the console here. So I'm just going to try something for you. I'm going to do a simple sum. Okay, so if I do 2 plus 3, as you would expect, I get 5. Okay, if I do 3 plus 3, I get 6. If I do 3 multiplied by 3, I get 9. Okay, so Python's very good at manipulating numbers. Okay, but what's important is that Python is not only good at manipulating numbers, it's also good at manipulating strings. Okay, so I can say, I can write hello, and then I can add that to my name. Okay, and what do you think happens when I kind of go hello plus my name? Okay, well, if I press enter, what you see is that the computer, Python, is concatenating it. It's put the two strings together. Okay, so that's called concatenation. And actually I can do, I can even, I need to put my quotes in as it's a string. Okay, I can even do multiply by 3, and that writes hello 3 times. Okay, so there's actually something important that you need to think about here. Because you can add together strings and you can add together numbers, what happens if you try and add together numbers and strings? Okay, so if I go hello, alright, and then try and add a number, alright, I get an error message. Okay, now that kind of makes sense, hopefully, to you, okay, in terms of the fact that I've got a string and I've got a number, and the computer knows what to do if you give it 2 numbers, and it knows what to do if you give it 2 strings, but it doesn't know what to do if you give it a string and a number. Okay, so that causes it a little bit of confusion. Okay, so now that's really important, because what we need to do is, when we're getting input from the user, we need to carefully consider what type of data we want to get from the user. Okay, so do we want to get a number, or do we want to get a string? Alright, so what I want to show you is how I can convert between the two. Okay, so if we do this one again, okay, hello plus 2, which we saw didn't work, what I can do is I can turn the 2 into a string. Okay, and I can convert it into a string just by writing str, str, alright, which is just the built-in command to turn a number into a string. Okay, so if I press enter, alright, that works because I've converted the number into a string. Okay, now there are times where I might want to do that the other way around. Okay, so I might have a string which contains a number, okay, and I might want to add that to a number. Okay, now if I try that again, it doesn't work. So this time what I need to do is I need to convert my string into a number. So to convert my string into a number, I just write int. Okay, and you probably know that int is short for integer, so what that does is that converts my string into an integer. Alright, and so because that's converted my string into an integer, I've added those two together. Okay, now there's also another one, so I can also use float. So say I've got a string, let's say it's 2.5. okay, rather than convert it into an integer, then this will convert to a decimal number. Okay, so this time I'll get a decimal number. Alright, so it's important when you're writing your programming code to think about the type of data that you're dealing with. Okay. Now, why is it important to know about the data type? Well, it's important to know when we're trying to get information from the user. So maybe I'm trying to get the user to insert the price of something. Okay, so I'm going to use my input. Insert price. Print. I keep writing prints. Okay, and what I'll do is then I'll say price. So what I'll add is I'll add some tax to it. I'll add 10% tax. Okay. So I'll multiply it by 1.1, and then what I'll do is I'll output the new price. Okay. So this is a little tax calculator I've created here. Okay. So I ask the user to insert a price. I add 10%, and then I output it. All right. So if I run this, okay. So I insert a price. Let's say 550. Okay, I get an issue. I got an error. Okay, and the reason why I get an error is because I've inserted a number. okay, and I want to multiply it by 1.1, but what I can't do is I can't do that because what I've inputted, because I've inputted it through the keyboard, is the computer thinks it's a string. Okay, so what's in price at the moment, the computer thinks is a string. So what I need to do is just tell the computer that actually it's not a string, it's actually a float. Okay. Now hopefully now I've converted that. So I've converted my string into a float, and I've stored it in price. So if I run it now, okay, I can try it again, and it works. Okay, so give that a go.